this 25-year-old suspect, Freddie Gray, broke his neck after Baltimore police arrested him. This is back on April 12th. He died a week later. That conclusion, based on the fact that Gray asked for medical help more than once while being transported in a van. In fact, city and police officials revealed Gray requested his inhaler, his asthma inhaler, at the same time officers called for the van. They also disclosed that Gray was put in leg restraints, but officials say they do not know how or when Gray's spinal cord was severed. And what's more, Gray's autopsy revealed his spinal injury was the only trauma to his body.
The findings of our comprehensive, thorough, and independent investigation, coupled with the medical examiner's determination that Mr. Gray's death was a homicide, has led us to believe that we have probable cause to file criminal charges.
Citizens of Baltimore, mostly African American, have been rioting for over 2 weeks over his death. The city is 63% black and 24% of residents live below the poverty line, according to the Baltimore Sun. In Baltimore, this was one too many instances where a citizen is affected by or dies over police brutality. They feel like it was one too many to handle, and collectively people started to explode. Baltimore, like many cities across America, has a history of police brutality. Since 2011, close to 100 people won lawsuits after alleging excessive force, payouts that totaled nearly $6 million, a 2014 investigation by the Baltimore Sun found. Baltimore erupted in violence on Monday as riots broke out just a few blocks from the funeral of Freddie Gray, and then spread through much of the West Baltimore region. Rioters looted stores, set buildings on fire, and rioters with baseball bats smashed windows of cars and businesses. Over a dozen of officers were injured. Maryland Governor Larry Hogan declared a state of emergency and activated the National Guard over the violent riots.
People were walking away with new items without paying. The National Guard will go in to secure an area after state police assist other agencies, including Baltimore City, to clear it.
Lootings can partially be blamed on poverty, but for some people in any neighborhood, stealing is a way of life. Where Freddie Gray died had an unemployment rate of 19.1% in 2011. It seems there is a war in the making with this civil unrest in the city between protesters and police. The family of Freddie Gray asks violence not be committed in Freddie's name.
Don't tear up the whole city, man, just for him. It's wrong.
And they want people to be peaceful and the rioting to stop. History shows many instances of racial riots in America. As a result of Martin Luther King's assassination, 125 cities across America started rioting, and one of those cities was Baltimore, in which also involved looting, burning buildings, destroying property, and had a face-off with blacks with the National Guard and the police. The Freddie Gray riots are the first time a riot of this magnitude has happened in the city since the Martin Luther King's riots. Before MLK's assassination, there was a race-based riot in LA that was triggered by similar reasons as today's Ferguson and Baltimore riots. Reasons included oppression and police brutality against African Americans. The Black Pride movement was well on the rise from 1965 to the 70s, which formed African American organizations committed to instigating change, such as the Black Panther Party, and gave birth to gangs like the Black Guerrilla Family. As a result of rioting in LA, the street clubs in LA, such as the Slawsons and the Gladiators, formed a truce. These rival clubs, or gangs as the media would call them, started working together for Black Pride civic organizations such as the Panthers to stop police brutality, and got involved in activities ranging from giving free breakfasts in the neighborhood, healthcare, neighborhood restoration, and political activism. Is history repeating itself again in Baltimore? The street gangs in Baltimore are doing the same. Gangs like Bloods, Crips, and the Black Guerrilla Family have made a truce to help stop the violence and police brutality in the Baltimore riots. The mainstream media is claiming that authorities have inside information that the gangs are uniting to kill cops. It would be fair to say that the police have a right to be shaken up when three street gangs unite against police brutality that are notorious for being armed and are known to cause acts of violence and are known to defend themselves with brutal force.
In East Baltimore, the notorious hitman for BGF.
And there is footage of people wearing blue and red bandanas while rioting and committing acts of violence against police and property. In retaliation to the claims made by police and the media, various gang members contacted a reporter from WBAL-TV to let their voices be heard. The gangsters made a counterclaim that the media is lying about the situation. They say they are uniting to stop the violence and to stop police brutality.
Trying to portray the gangs in Baltimore, the BGF, the Bloods, the Crips. We did not make that truce to harm cops. We're not about to allow y'all to paint this picture of us.
So your game plan tonight has been to stop the violence?
To stop what's going on. That's all we trying to do. We want justice for Freddie Gray.
We've been keeping the peace all day. So we're blocking people who throw bottles at police officers. We're blocking them, making lines, and grabbing the persons that are involved in the crimes that they're trying to commit against the police. We don't want that. We want peace. We don't want any more police hurting anyone else.
What do you think when you see this happening in the streets? Businesses looted, cars on fire, police injured.
It makes us look real bad, and it's backing up what they're saying about us. They saying we animals and we acting like savages out here. I understand why people mad, but we gotta handle things another way.
Mainstream media constantly shows images of black people rioting and committing acts of violence, and some of them wearing colored bandanas, but will not show what some people are doing to deteriorate that violence. Bloods, Crips, and the BGF trying to calm the riot down, telling people to go home and stop being violent. They're also seen cleaning up messes made by protesters and attempting to shake hands, as well as citizens, once the riots are done, go out and clean up the mess during the day.
I wept for my city, and this morning I'm cleaning for my city.
Helping store owners save what's left.
When you see the stuff that happened with the looting and the fires or whatever, is that gang related? Who is that?
No, that's not gang related. We have nothing to do with that. We're the ones out here that's trying to bring peace and stop everything.
Kids were the ones who acted out in that manner, but right now the children are going off because they have no recreational parks.
And they angry. You can't keep on poking somebody in the back and think they're not going to turn around and swing. Like, we at our boiling point.
We live in a police state where every day we come out, we're being harassed by the police, man. They checking out private areas and public areas. It's just out of hand, man.
At the end of the day, what they show on the news and what they show to the media, they show them what they want to see. They don't actually let them see what's really going on.
I want you and Fox News to get out of Baltimore City because you're not here reporting about the boarded up homes and the homeless people under MLK. You're not reporting about the poverty levels up and down North Avenue. You're here for the black riots that happened, right? You're not here for the death of Freddie Gray.
So what's really going on?
Unity. The unity between all of these rivals that wouldn't even be together standing right here, right now.
We are of a different faction. And what that's going to do is start to show people in the community that we can come together as a unit and be unified and be peaceful. It was so much stuff that was going on Saturday that got portrayed in the wrong direction or in the wrong light that for some reason, who knows, right, why they won't paint this picture in a positive way.
Why is it that they won't paint a good picture of this gang truce? Does the establishment want to paint this picture in the wrong way because they don't want gangsters to unite?
So we decided to unite, and for the record, everyone in the United States that's a Blood or a Crip that has a certain type of beef amongst each other, I want y'all to squash that and unite because we need each other.
Part of the mechanics of oppression is to pervert the oppressed to become instruments of their own oppression. Baltimore is in the twilight zone. Gangsters are the ones trying to stop the violence, while the mayor of Baltimore, Stephanie Rawlings Blake, wants to incite violence by stating the following on television.
I worked with the police and instructed them to do everything that they could to make sure that the protesters were able to exercise their right to free speech. We also gave those who wished to destroy space to do that as well.
Also, it is reported that police are telling journalists that they were ordered by the mayor to stand down and allow looting, rioting, and to allow property damage. But why? Is the establishment exploiting people's angers and frustrations of oppression by using the oppressed actions to justify government agendas? The mayor of Baltimore was one of 3 mayors who provided input into President Obama's task force on 21st century policing, advocating more federal control over local police departments.
There are citizens who are out there who my colleagues have spoken to. I've spoken to police officers who are here who are saying, listen, this was allowed to get out of control because the protesters, not the peaceful ones obviously, but the ones who have caused all this chaos, they were given way too much leeway. And that is the reason that this happened. Had there been more restraints, more officers in place, had they been able to gain control of the situation and perhaps not just stand by and allow people to do things as they shouldn't, that we would not be at this point right now.
Look, let me just say in defense of the mayor, now's not the time to, question about what happened in the past. We're here to try to fix what's happening now.
I understand that, but I respectfully disagree with you, Governor.
All the help that we need, and we're going to get this situation.
Governor, I respectfully disagree with you, but I think now is the time to get some answers because it's happening now.
That would explain her inaction to stop the rioting when it began by allowing it to spiral out of control. The mayor and her friends at the Justice Department could use the civil unrest to justify the expansion of federal power into local law enforcement. This theory, formulated from facts, is based upon the principle that the establishment uses mind control involving psychological manipulation through a process called problem, reaction, solution. The problem is black man dies while in public custody. The reaction is angry protesters riot, and the solution is expansion of federal control over local police. What supports this theory is the fact that the mayor allowed rioting and looting and just made police and National Guardsmen stand by.
We also gave those who wished to destroy space to do that as well.
Which is the exact opposite of what happened in the 60s when the revolutionary black movement was on the rise. Declassified documents show that the FBI wanted to neutralize the national black movement, and it looks maybe today instead of neutralizing it, they want to steer it in the direction the establishment wants it to go. One of the gangs that has formed part of this truce in the Baltimore riots is the Black Guerrilla family, which was founded around the same time as the Black Panthers and is characterized as an African-American Marxist revolutionary organization composed of prisoners and street thugs. It was founded with the goals of eradicating racism, maintaining dignity in prison, and to overthrow the United States government. A founder of Heads Up United that was formed from the Ferguson riots adheres to the same political ideologies as the Black Guerrilla Family Gang and claims more civil unrest is going to happen and it will involve protesters ready to fight against police. This group is organizing protests all around the U.S. Billionaire philanthropologist George Soros has funded at least $33 million to this group. So essentially, Soros is funding a group that promises more riots and more violence against police. Soros admitted himself on CNN in 2004 that a non-governmental organization that he funded and set up in Ukraine prior to its conflict in Russia played an important part in the destabilization of the region.
First on Ukraine, one of the things that many people recognized about you was that you, during the revolutions of 1989, funded a lot of dissident activity, civil society groups in Eastern Europe, in Poland, the Czech Republic. Are you doing similar things in Ukraine?
Well, I set up a foundation in Ukraine before Ukraine became independent of Russia. And the foundation has been functioning ever since. And it played an important part in events now.
George Soros funds many non-governmental organizations and movements such as Occupy Wall Street, Idle No More, and many more. Does Mr. Soros have a sinister agenda to fund the destabilization of regions? Will the Bloods and the Crips and the Black Guerrilla family continue to try to stop the violence? Or will they get suckered into this hands-up united organization that is founded by George Soros?
We got Bloods, Crips, Jays, Latin Kings, everybody who is beefing with each other is all united together to fight for this cause.
Only time will tell.